welcome to your favorite show, The Discussion. I'm your host, Chelsea Okonji. Thank you for joining us on the GBKM network. If you haven't yet, please download our app, search GBKM on iOS or Android, or you could just sign up on YouTube and follow, subscribe, comment, join the discussion. Remember to also follow us on all our socials. Just search for GBKM network and you'll be able to connect with us. Again, today, I am here with a very special guest. I mean, you can just imagine how excited I am and how excited I know you guys are since we put out the flyers that we have this special guest in here. We're discussing women taking up space and women in politics. And our guest is none other than the most vocal representative that is she's an advocate for youth representation. She is an advocate for promoting the culture and just inclusiveness. She is also a keen voice for the youth. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Go ahead and help me to welcome Itohan.
Thank you for that amazing introduction. It's an honor to be on the show here today.
Awesome.
I was definitely looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah.
Now I've watched you do your thing on the show, and I'm like, this is so perfect. I can't wait till she interviews me. However,
cool.
my name for the camera is Itohan Evagaru, and she's given me such a great introduction. There's not much more I can say.
No. You definitely wear many hats. So tell people about like some of the things that you do, basically.
Well, there's a whole lot of things that I do. I don't really like to put myself in a bubble or, just put myself under one category. I think I'm very diverse, and even in what I do. So I think it's kind of cliche. I don't like the term to use that terminology and say I'm a politician. But what I do is I politic.
Yes.
And I aim to represent the underrepresented population here in Canada, and most specifically in the city of Toronto, but also in Africa, you know what I mean, where the roots are. So it's always been my, joy and duty to be able to stand for those who are not in the political sphere, those who may be young, but not really kind of haven't really wrapped their head around the political system. I've always tried to be that person in the middle to make sure that they're informed, because at the end of the day, they are the future of any economy. And of course, I think a huge representative for the culture. I love my culture a lot, and I do my best to make sure that it's implemented in everything that I do.
Let's get right into that, because you're definitely like you're so proud of your culture.
Of course.
You showcase it. If you go on her socials, you'll be able to see like you bring your culture with you, and sometimes it looks like it's very nice to see, especially here in the diaspora.
Thank you.
So tell us, I just want to start from the beginning.
Sure.
Like, how did your journey even like start?
Well, honestly speaking, I have to, I always, anytime I have the opportunity, I give my parents the most thanks, because I believe that if it wasn't for the type of parents that I'm blessed to have, I don't think I would be the woman that I am today. I grew up in a home that was very diverse. My mother is an Eritrean, my father is a Nigerian, so it's from East and West Africa. And both of them are from two of the most powerful kingdoms in East and West Africa. So I've always seen that confidence within them. And, one thing about my parents is that out of like all my siblings, everybody knows I'm the most spoiled child. Like, it was never a no.
Are you the middle child?
No, I'm not.
No.
It was never a no. It was never, oh, you can't do this. Like, my parents would like make sure that everything that was in their power to give me, I had it. And I had a lot of things. So I'm thankful for that. And the reason why I mention that is because without that, I don't think I'd have confidence.
Right.
Actually, how it kind of made me get into politics in a sense is the fact that, when you grow up and you're a diva and you're spoiled and you have all these different things, it's kind of hard to grow up and be in the real world and not have everyone say yes to you, not have everyone say the world revolves around you. And
that is true.
I understood that. I knew there were more pressing issues and more bigger things that, I had to get out of my head for.
Okay.
And I think with that being said, just the way I was raised, it kind of gave me that confidence already. So obviously when you kind of grow up and you have bigger issues to worry about, it's easy for you to step back into that diva zone, step back into that confidence zone and do what you do. And that's why I've been able to, I guess, build the empire that I'm building right now politically.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know what? When I went to York University, studied global political studies, and I remember taking that major because I wanted to get into law school. So I'm like, oh, I need something, an undergrad, just anything. Let me get into law school.
Okay.
Doing politics in school was quite interesting because, when you're in school, you're learning a lot of the books and the history.
Yes.
For me, I felt very bored of that. You know, I joined certain groups, Amnesty International. I was a part of all these little groups within the school, but I didn't like it. I said, you know what, me that I am, I like power. I like being in control. Going back to the diva mode that my parents created me to be. So I wanted something that's more realistic, more that's more impactful. So I started joining organizations out of school. I really put myself, you know, out there. I really put myself in seats and in positions where I didn't see anyone that looked like me.
Exactly.
I remember sitting down in meetings where I wasn't invited. I would just go and sneak in and find myself sitting at the back there, being the youngest, being mainly, to be honest, the only black female in the room as well.
Exactly.
And I would listen, and I'd always, you know, be able I'd go and sneak and speak to these politicians and speak to all these leaders and tell them my views and tell them my, you know, my ideas and whatnot. And that only made me, I think, be more comfortable to kind of be more daring and challenge their ideas. But that's a little bit of just how the political journey started. I saw that, and when I finally got into the system and I realized that, you know, I was outside of school doing bigger things with different organizations in the open world, I realized that there was an underrepresentation.
Definitely.
I realized that it's the problem is not me being the only female in the room, you know, black female in the room. The problem is the fact that even no matter what race was around me, there was nobody there that looked like me.
Exactly.
And it's beyond race and color. It has to do with style, the way I think. You know, I'm born in a different generation. All these things, there was no one there. So that kind of just motivated me to really kick-started, and the rest was pretty much history.
That definitely brings me to the next question, because from what you've explained, it takes a lot of courage at such a young age, go and sit in those meetings and then like just go and speak to politicians without having any, you know, it takes a lot of courage.
It does.
So my next question is, being all that you are right now, you embrace your culture, you embrace the fact that you're a diva, you embrace your, you know, courage and everything, being a woman, being a minority, being a black woman, and being young as well. How do you think that has played a part in your life moving forward, especially where you are at right now?
Well, it's played a huge part in my life, to tell you the truth. It has a lot to do with my confidence, and confidence is everything, because say I'm not politicking today and I'm doing something else in life, I need that confidence.
That's true.
And fortunately for me, that confidence is what has basically been able to put me through different situations. I'll never forget the day someone close to me, I looked at this person as a big sister, and I know they meant well, but the way they came off, it was a lot. And I'll just give you that statement of what was said to me.
Okay.
I remember her saying, you know, she called me by my Eritrean name. She says, Meheret. She's in London. She says, Meheret. I said, yes. Okay. She says, you have to decide whether you want to be a Barbie doll or you want to be a politician. So I understood exactly what she meant. She meant you gotta make a decision if you want to be the person that you are, which is a diva, you know, the fierce woman that does so many other things outside of politics, or you have to decide to be the politician. Did that mean wearing suit and tie? Did that mean literally cutting off my friends and hanging out with older political leaders? Did that mean not attending certain events? Did it mean changing my life? And that's where that boldness came in. So, you know, being who I am, seeing how diverse I am, seeing, you know, knowing my history as well. I always say, to know where you're going to, you have to have an idea of where you came from. So all of that tied in gives me that confidence, and with that confidence, I can get through almost anything that I put my mind you know, towards. Amen.
Amen to that. That was a very well said answer. And have you found that, you know, by breaking the stereotypes, because you are breaking stereotypes, there are not many politicians that, you know, are fabulous and are also social and are also like keeping up with the times and are young, to be honest. So have you found that this has, you know, made people want to, inspired more people to be themselves and then to go into politics? Or?
Oh yes, I get on a daily so many messages from individuals, whether it be in the UK, in Africa, in the States, in Canada, name it. I've gotten various messages from people, and these people are, you know, messaging me just saying, you are such an inspiration. We see ourselves in you, whether it be a young girl who doesn't know what she wants to do yet, or a girl who's into business, or a female that's into politics. They say, with you, we see that we can still be us and do what we want to do.
What you want to do.
For me, that's why I am who I am. I want to show people that, you know what, today you can be in office and you can be debating with the mayor, you can be debating with the prime minister, you can be debating with ministers and trying to advocate for what you think is right. And tomorrow, you know, you could be at a patio having the best time of your life, popping some champagne. You know what I mean? Like, you are who you are, and at the end of the day, who you are outside of your work life should not describe who you are in your work life. I think that for you to be as leaders, why we fail to have the best leaders all over the world is because we fail to have authentic leaders, leaders that are not just set up in a way which people want to, you know, kind of just have you set up as. We need authentic people who are not afraid to be who they are wholeheartedly and authentically. And when you have the type of history and the background, you know, that I have coming from the kingdoms that I come from, you brag different and you do it confidently. So, yeah.
I think this is a very great thing, especially for people to see. One, especially for people all around, especially for young girls, especially for women, to be able to see this confidence being just out and taking over the world the way you're doing.
Yes.
So I just want to ask, how do you balance your social life, your regular life with your politicking?
I mix it. I mix it. I don't like to feel the pressure of my political life. I don't like to feel the pressure of my normal life. And I find that sometimes when you focus on one more than the other, that's when that pressure really starts to kind of creep up on you. So for me, I think what I do is literally just, I'm myself. I embrace who I am. You know, if I have deadlines or I have meetings, I'm coming in not just as, you know, the politician, but I'm coming in as who I am. I'm coming in as Itoha. I'm coming in as, my friends call me, my nickname on the sheets is Madam M. I'm coming in the way I am, you know what I mean? M for moving mountains is what they call me. I didn't give myself that nickname.
You didn't give yourself that nickname.
My friends did.
Moving mountains.
I got that nickname from my friends, and so I come in that way, and that's how I balance it, you know. I'm naturally, I think, an outspoken person, so in my social life, in my, you know, career, in my family life, I'm pretty much the same person, so it's really easy for me to do that. And I always have to go with a mission and an aim, right? Whenever you walk into a situation or any type of environment, always go with an aim. Have that confidence. That confidence is not just being able to speak. It's about knowing what you're talking about.
Exactly.
And when I do that, I am who I am. I'm the same person who woke up from, you know, bed this morning. Nothing changes.
Nothing changes.
Maybe I'm dolled up, but nothing changes.
I feel like that's why people also gravitate towards you, because we find that a lot of people, especially in this social media age, gravitate towards authenticity.
Yes.
And then it's not very easy to see someone be so authentic, be so themselves, and yet strive and achieve so many things. So I think Madam M is like pretty simple. Well, moving mountains. Moving on, let's talk more about your cultural background.
Definitely.
Tell the people where you're from.
Oh, with pride.
Nigerian time.
With pride. All right, guys.
What is your favorite dish from where you're from as well?
All right, so you know, I'm gonna give you guys both the East and West because I have to be fair. So right now you guys are going to be speaking to Itoha, and then I'm going to let you guys speak to Mehra after. Itoha is from the ancient city of Benin City, Edo State, Nigeria. Yes, you know what I mean? I always brag about Benin. You know what I mean? As a Nigerian, if there's any Nigerians watching, you can't talk about the history of Nigeria and not mention the Benin Kingdom. It's impossible.
It's very rich.
It's very rich,
like,
and
their heritage.
And you know, our heritage is rich because our kingdom has played a huge part. You know what I mean? The Oba of Benin is a very powerful man, and our ancestors are powerful as well. You know, when you look at the history of the world and you compare it to Benin, you, like I said, you brag different.
You bragged.
So, you know, I have to put this in here. I hope you don't mind. That you know, when I think about Benin, I just have this certain type of joy, and I can't lie. Being from Benin has given me this extra load of confidence. Only because, like I said, it's just not just a word of mouth. Me saying, "Hey, we're from Benin and we're powerful." Actually, I'm just gonna put in a fact here. They say the largest man-made wall, the largest wall in the world is the Wall of China. That's incorrect. If you Google this. If you Google this, the largest wall that's ever created in this world was the Wall of Benin. It was said to be 4 times larger than the Wall of China. When you actually look at texts and documents from Portuguese and from Europeans, their texts will tell you about Benin. They will tell you that once upon a time, Benin was known for its extravagance, for its beauty, for its development. They called it a first-class African city when they weren't considering many places in Africa as a city. In comparison to the UK, they said that the UK was known for poverty, robbery, all these different type of things, while Benin was so safe that, you know, there were no doors or nothing. It was a different type of living. So when it comes to my history, I guess that's how you know I'm very, very, very proud to be from that powerful kingdom. And then you have East Africa. Like I said, my mother is from Eritrea and Ethiopia. You have the Ethiopian Empire, which again is very historic. You cannot talk about the world without, you cannot talk about even some Bible facts without going back to Ethiopia.
That is true.
So when you come from such a powerful place, even though you're born and raised in Canada, you know your history, you know the history of your people.
Right.
You know, you're just gonna walk. You're gonna walk.
Your
different.
shoulders high.
You're gonna walk different. You're gonna know the power, and that
Exactly.
power is not just gonna be in your mind. You're definitely gonna have to portray in anything you do. So that's how my culture kind of just affects me, and literally is like my life.
Thank you so much for that answer. Do you ever visit? Do you ever go Nigeria?
Oh,
or
most
Eritrea?
definitely. I've been to Nigeria 3 times.
Oh, yeah?
So the first time I was there for 6 months. Second
Okay.
time I was there for almost 2 years.
Wow.
The third time I was there for about 4 months. I've never been to Eritrea, unfortunately. I hope to go this year if, you know, COVID, everything is better. However, I've been to Nairobi, Kenya. That's where my grandparents live from my mother's side. So Kenya is another place that's really special in my heart because it's where my mother was raised. So yes, pretty much. I love Africa. You know, the future is Africa. We should not forget it. A lot of people see me and they say, this woman, she's a politician in Canada. She does these different things.
Yeah.
A little secret I'm going to tell you guys between me and you. You guys are the only people hearing this. This is exclusive content.
Exclusive content.
Because I don't say this anywhere, but the truth about it is that I have a difficult time thinking about my life because I really do. My heart is in Africa.
Right.
Politically, I think the future is in Africa. I think there's a lot of the work that I put in here should be done in Africa. You know, so that's a little secret. Really, don't tell the Canadian government, please. Don't tell them, but pretty much.
So do you ever see yourself moving back to Africa?
100%. I plan to retire there.
Really?
100%.
But it's good that you're doing the work here right now, so
Definitely.
that when you go back home, there's something to, you know, take back with you, and then you have the experience from here to be able to. Africa is it's a different ball game.
I don't think that there's anything for me to take back from my knowledge here back to Africa, to tell you the truth. I don't think that the system that we have in Africa is meant for Africa. So I'm not going to model that system with what we have in Canada. Like, I'm Canadian and that it is what it is, but at the end of the day, everyone has their homeland, their mother and their fatherland, and everyone has a system that worked for them once in the past. And unfortunately, the system that we have in Africa does not work
for us.
Even in Canada, the system does not work. You know what I mean? I definitely do. First and foremost, I definitely do have to talk about the students. Unfortunately, the residential students who were found, their bodies were found. Unfortunately, it goes to show you the type of systems that there are around the world.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, we have to remember that this is stolen land as well. This land is not completely ours. I've always said the moment they say Indigenous people should come and take the whole of Canada, I'm ready to pack my things and go back to Africa. Respectfully. You know what I mean? So it gets kind of complicated in that sense.
No, I totally understand that. Right now, we have to take a quick break. So just stay with us.
Definitely.
Stay tuned. We're going to take a quick 30-second break. We'll be right back. See you soon.
My name is Carol, and I'm currently a project coordinator. I took the project management course. I learned a number of things, one of which was interview skills. I learned about the agile framework and how that's very different from the waterfall model of project management.
At Top Run Consulting, the key unique area that we try to focus on is not to just impart certification knowledge, but the application of real-world tools.
Back in June 2017, I did the business analysis course at Top Run. I learned the basic and advanced skills and tools to be successful in business analysis field.
Welcome back to your favorite show, The Discussion. If you are just joining us, we have a very special guest here with us, Itohan, and we are discussing all things from politics to her personal life to just who she is as a person.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So right now, let's dive right into politics.
Sure.
Tell me, what do you think about the election so far?
Honestly speaking, I think that, you know, a lot of people have a misunderstanding when it comes to Western politics. They think that the Western world is the founder of democracy.
That's true.
Unfortunately, democracy doesn't always happen in these spaces, and I think that when we even look at the previous elections, we can look at, for example, the 2018 election in City Council, for example. You could see that democracy just didn't play its part. We had the Premier, Doug Ford, at the time, I don't know if you can recall, he cut the size of City Council in half, literally in the middle of the election. So imagine having to literally, them announcing to candidates who have already created their budget, who have created their strategy, have their volunteers, their schedules. Imagine in the middle of the election hearing, if you guys want to contest, well, you have to now come and sign a new nomination form because there's a change of ward, meaning the population is changing, meaning the whole game and everything changes.
is changing.
A lot of people dropped out of the race.
Right.
It did affect the election. the amount of seats we have in our government also affects the way our economy, the way our country is run. So, you know, it's quite unfortunate that, you know, democracy is the way it is, especially in the Western world. You think that it'd be the other way, but when it comes to elections can be way better. I think we need more diversity in our elections. We need more representatives to come up. We need young people. I'm challenging you guys all to, in the next election, run, ask somebody, find out. There are many organizations who are ready to support candidates. Get out there, put your name forward, and talk to community members. We need diversity in politics. This election looked like many other elections that have passed.
Yeah.
There's nothing new that has come from it. Our seats still look the same. The government looks the same, and we need to pretty much challenge that. You know, I've been running since 2018. I've lost many times, you know what I mean? It's not the end. Losing is one thing. Every great politician has had many losses.
Exactly.
So I take that as an award. I lost and I lost with my
Plus,
chest.
it's a build up to your success story
Exactly.
eventually when it happens.
Exactly.
So are you going to keep running?
Most definitely. Definitely. I will continue to run. There are a lot of people, like you mentioned earlier, who, you know, just really believe in my representation.
Yes.
There's an army of people behind me who want to see someone as bold and confident as I am to challenge the status quo government. And it's going to continue to be my mission to represent the people and represent them wholeheartedly in the way in which I feel they should be represented.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that answer. That was amazing. Now, in terms of politics, again, I know you're going to keep running, but what is your end goal?
I'd like to be the Prime Minister of Canada.
There you go.
I will be the Prime Minister of Canada.
There you go.
And thankfully, in a system like ours, it's, you know, it's possible.
Yes,
you know,
it
you
is
just
possible.
need to continue and make sure that you have the people's support, because indeed it is power to the people and not done alone.
So what did you learn so far from running? Like your past, how has it, you know, impacted? What are you going to change moving forward? What have you learned from your previous runs?
Learned that politics is very petty. When you're sitting down with representatives and you're advising them, say you sit on an advisory body, or you sit on a youth council, for example, you're meant to advise government officials for certain matters. It's very different from when you're campaigning and you decide to run against somebody. Politics can get very petty. So what I know is that you have to put your head on your shoulders. You have to be, I don't believe you have to be sneaky, but you have to know your game. You have to have your team members, and you have to make sure you have loyal team members. You know what I mean? Because the game is, it's the game.
It's the game.
You know what I mean? I've learned that you should never give up. I've learned that you should, day and night, you have to sweat. Politics is sweat. It's not like back home where politics is done. I don't want to get too much into that, but politics is done very differently. Over here, you have to really blood, sweat, and tears. You have to knock on doors, meet so many people. You can't be afraid, and every vote counts. And that's what I've learned.
Because democracy actually works here. So it's really power to the people, like you say.
It
so
is.
what is one thing that you learned that you will never do again?
Oh, goodness. One thing that I've learned that I will never do again. Okay, this is like from my first election, okay? Don't judge me.
No judgment.
My planning, I failed to plan, you know. I failed to plan, and that was unfortunate. Now, you know, I've had a lot of people really come to me and talk to me about that, especially loved ones who wish me well. Quite frankly, the owner of this amazing business, this amazing
establishment,
this broadcasting company, it happens to be my uncle. He's very close with me as well. And, you know, he was also one of the people, I just have to give that shout out. He was also one of the people who said and came to me and said, Itoa, you need planning, you need your support, you need the community, you need everyone, even if they don't live in your area, that you need everyone around you pushing you, and that's how we can win. So I learned to be a bit more inclusive and stop trying to figure out everything myself. I'm a perfectionist, and get more people involved, even if they aren't in the area. And what I failed to do was get people from outside the area involved in what we're doing.
But I see that you have taken, because your next election, your next run was like, you know, different,
you live
and you're
you
going
learn.
to keep doing different, like moving forward.
You live and
so
you
I
learn.
can, exactly. I can see that you have learned. Speaking on community, I also see that you're huge in like giving back.
Yes,
I
am.
You're very big on giving back. Tell me why that's important to you and important to the community as a whole.
I think it's important because, you know, it's easy for me to, you know, work based off my knowledge and say, you know what, the government needs to approve this and the budget needs to go to this. But, you know, I've been in city council, and when I've seen billions of dollars passed in a second just by one vote, billions of dollars have been invested into one thing. And I just remember sitting down in that room saying, oh my goodness, if only they took this advice and they invested that $1 billion into something else. Imagine how it would affect other people. So for me, I'm all about giving back to the people who, you know, are really behind the scenes. You know what I mean? The people who are not always involved in politics, who aren't always on the front lines. There are a lot of people who need it. I don't believe in literally just saying I'm a politician, I'm a leader, by just sitting down and making decisions. I think that leaders know where to find the people who need the help. And that's what I've made it my mission to do. I have an organization called the Moving Mountains Foundation. And what we do at the Moving Mountains Foundation is we create we have initiatives, right, where we either feed, sponsor, and educate those who are, you know, underprivileged. And it's an honor. I think that's the greatest gift, to be able to do that. I think there's nothing bigger and better than doing that. At the end of the day, politics is there to help. Politics is there to be a system to provide, to be a system where everyone can live in peace. And for me, I like to sometimes step out for a second and really do the dirty work, and that means making sure that we get things to be able to give to people and really exercise true leadership.
And people don't realize that leadership is about serving.
It is service.
So the more you serve, the better you are as a leader.
Politicians are getting paid for you, okay? Don't be intimidated. Politicians, a lot of the leaders that we have in our economy are paid to service you. And it's easy to forget that when they have so much power, press and all of that, but they serve you. So you could tell a lot about a leader. I always say when voting, you have to look at a proven track record. Before this leader was elected into office, what were they doing? Were they talking to the people? Were they helping people? It says a lot about the type of leadership that they can offer. If they can do that without being elected into office, imagine what they can do when they finally are elected.
Exactly. Yeah. One more question that I have. Do you find that you got enough support from the African community, especially the African community? Speak a little bit about on that.
I'm going to be very honest with you. And I hope, you know, my African people, I don't get bashed for this. I feel like, you know, I did get support. I feel like especially in my community, like the Bini community, there were a lot of supportive voices and people who really, they were just so proud. Even the ones that are all the way in Nigeria, they're just so proud to say, oh, our own daughter, our own sister is doing this. But I feel like Nigeria is a big country, and there's so many different tribes, so many different ethnic groups, and I feel like we need to start normalizing celebrating everyone and anyone, no matter what tribe you're from or who you are. I feel like I could have got more support from the African community. I feel like you know, there should have been at least just more love. You know what I mean? I think that there's not even a lot of African people in power. You can count the amount of people, African people who have sat down in parliament, who have sat down in city council, who have sat down in the legislative assembly. It's not a lot. So I think that, you know, our people should be pushing, not just me, but other people. And why I can answer that and say that I feel like there's no support is because if there was, we would see a lot more African candidates standing up and stepping up to do exactly what I'm doing.
Exactly. So what would you say is your advice to the African candidates?
To the candidates or to the community?
To the Canadians, African
Canadians. So my advice to African, you know, Canadians is that, you know, we need to really start supporting each other, and not just our political candidates, but we need to start supporting our friends, our sisters, our brothers, our neighbors, everybody. You know, we can build a great economy here in Canada. When you look at China and you look at India, they've been able, especially China, have been able to build global economy all over the world. Us Africans should be able to do the same. We should be able to have a whole land where we have shops, you know, with diverse African stores in it, where we have politicians who are representing not just the Canadian people, but the African people and the needs and you know, the things that, just supporting our experience and things that matter. So I'd say that, you know what, things will not start getting better until we start getting better ourselves. We think that we live in such a fortunate country. Well, let me tell you something, my brothers and sisters, my African brothers and sisters, our country can be so much better. Imagine a nation that is more inclusive. Imagine a nation where there are lots of members in our government who look like you and I, with the experience and the history that you and I have. We will be able to get better representation the moment we start supporting one another, and it will not happen until then. You know what? We're not in Africa, but we have a lot of Africans in Canada. Canada is home to a huge amount of population of Africans. So there's absolutely no reason as to why we can't be greater and better for all of us, because that's the end goal in my opinion.
Awesome. Now, one final question before we wrap up this amazing interview. When was your best moment running? What would you say is your best memory so far you've had?
The best moment, I think, was not even during a general election, to be very honest.
Oh,
I
really?
think it was during an appointment process. I remember I was pretty much still younger, but I went into an appointment process, and I remember it was actually my first appointment process. Like, it was even before I ran in the general election. So I'm talking way back when I started politics. I remember being confident and being like 20 years old and walking into City Hall and putting my name forward to be appointed. Of course, I didn't get appointed, but my names were all over the blogs. The city clerk had actually put out a tweet on Twitter, and out of the 47 people who actually, I think about 40 to 47 people who put their name forward, they said the best out of all, my name was there, the best out of 3, and my name was amongst the 3. And then I had a whole bunch of other, councilmen and women who, said, we want to see you in this chambers. We want to see you here. You belong here. If you don't get appointed, we want to see you knock on doors. You should be here. And just getting that, it was my first time. So getting that affirmation and getting that support from some of my friends at City Hall, it meant a lot to me. And I think that also gave me the extra boost of confidence I needed at that early point of my career. But I'll add one more thing. I think one of the best parts from my whole election experience is also meeting people. Now, I've met thousands of people, thousands of people. I've knocked on thousands of people's door, invaded thousands of people's space, telling them about what I want to bring to this government, telling them about, what my political plan and my vision looks like for our neighborhood and everything. And I've met some amazing people down the way, some new friends, some new supporters, and I think that was one of the most special moments, definitely for me. But politics is one thing, and I just really want to just end by saying this thing. I always say history makers don't wait for things to happen. History makers don't wait for things to happen. History makers make things happen. You know what I mean? And all of us play a part in making history. So we really need to be able to come together no matter who we are and push for diverse representation. It is time, Canada, for that diverse representation. We deserve it. It's been years. We have not seen it. It's time to break stereotypes and normalize what is not normal in our economy. Only then will our economy be able to work for our people. And when I say our people, I'm not just talking about Africans, I'm talking about North Americans and Canadians here in Canada.
Awesome. I just want to say thank you so much. That was an amazing time. That was an amazing interview. Tell the people where they can find you and how we can support you.
Most
especially.
Definitely. Well, I'm, first and foremost, I'm more than happy to have anyone follow me on social media. My social media, I'm a Generation Z, okay? Exactly. I'm a politician, but I'm on Instagram. And I'm really out there on Instagram. So I'd say follow me at _MEHRET. That's at _Meherets. You can find me there on my Instagram handle. I post a lot of content with what I'm doing. You can also stay tuned for my YouTube channel where I'll be bringing a lot of people behind the scenes. So what my life in politics looks like. So for now, that's where you can reach me, and I'm more than happy to get to know you guys and feel and have more support.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure. That concludes our show for today on The Discussion. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't yet, please download the app, search GBKM on iOS or Android, and don't forget to leave comments, like, share on our YouTube or on our website or on our Facebook. Remember, every topic starts with a discussion. See you next week, same time, same place.
My name is Kara, and I'm currently a project coordinator. I took the project management course. I learned a number of things, one of which was interview skills. I learned about the agile framework and how that's very different from the waterfall model of project management.
At Top Run Consulting, the key unique area that we try to focus on is not to just impart certification knowledge, but the application of real-world tools.
Back in June 2017, I did the business analysis course at Top Run. I learned the basic and advanced skills and tools to be successful in business analysis field.